Evcol. The Absent Husband. There is something I need to tell you. My friend, there is no man or woman alive excepting you to whom I could talk as I am going to do now. You were about to defend her just now without question, weren't you? You said that she was most to be pitied. Oh, I know why. You did, of course, know her before she was married. Well, marriage develops people. She had the happiness of a home and the life's happiness of 2 and possibly 3 persons in her hands. And for the sake of vicious intrigue, which she now sees could never bring her anything but misery, she sacrificed her boy and me. Oh, Noelle. And do you know the greatest irony of it all? Is that her misery is of no consolation to me, because I still love her. Oh, the boy must never know that she is alive. Never know what she did. Oh, don't look at me like that. I know that she must have loved me in some way, or why would she have married me? If she wanted position, she could have married men farther up in the world than I was. Than I am now, even. If she wanted money, she could have married a much bigger bank account than mine. Noelle. You can't realize the happiness of my life until I learned that I was a fool. For the first year, I pitied the whole world because it couldn't be as utterly happy as I was. Then our boy was born, and after that it seemed that before I had been miserable by contrast. Such a beautiful little boy. Palest powder blue eyes. You know something funny, Noelle? Before that time, I thought that I had fully the average man's capacity for work. And then it was doubled. I was in my office early and late, every moment that I could tear myself away from my home. I even worked in my study at night so that I could be near her and our baby. Oh, my boy. My sweet, sweet boy. I had a purpose, Noelle. Now it all made sense to me. And it was in that very moment, my friend, that I realized I would do whatever it took, even if it meant working myself down to the very bone. I would do whatever it took to secure my boy's happiness in this world. I had set my eyes on the position I now hold, and I was tireless in my work for it. I was as sure that I would win as I was of the sanctity of my own home. Then came the scandal in the finance department. Now, there was this one truly brilliant young fellow in this lot, of whom you may not have heard, thanks to my efforts. Lascelles. Albert Lascelles. I was certain he was innocent, the victim of circumstantial evidence. None of my associates agreed with me, of course, which made my work then even harder, but I proved my theory to be a sound one. Oh, it was a great triumph for me, Noelle, and Lascelles knew it and tried to kill me with gratitude. Oh, forgive me. My friend, the day he was discharged, we were both drunk with excitement, and I insisted that he should come home to dinner with me that evening. Oh, it was indeed a merry dinner the 3 of us had that night. You know, Lascelles was truly a brilliant young fellow. And, you know, I never knew Jacqueline to be wittier or more entertaining. He came to see us quite often after that. He was alone in the world, but I could see that Jacqueline liked him, and that was enough for me. Noel, why don't you pour us another brandy? How was I to suspect anything? You must think me a great fool, Noel. Well, why not? I mean, indeed. I encouraged him to escort Jacqueline to the races and other places of which she had been so fond. My friend, I seldom had time to go with her. But despite this friendship, Jacqueline grew more affectionate to me every day and pleaded with me constantly to go about with her and let my work take care of itself. Noel, I couldn't. I just couldn't. And I showed her time and time again how impossible this notion was. Then Lascelles came and I would tell him to take her somewhere. The guiltier she grew with Lascelles, the more affection she displayed for me to prevent any hint of suspicion. Funny how you realize things. What do they say, Noel? Oh, you know what I'm... That old phrase. What is it? Hindsight is 20/20. Well, then one day I told her that I would be unusually busy, that I would dine at a cafe and would not be home until very late. But, as it happened, when I returned to my office after dinner, I found that there was actually nothing of importance, and so I went home. Forgive me, my friend. It was raining a little, and I remember when I reached the front door, I let myself in without making any noise. I even took off my shoes. You see, we had been so distant, and I wanted to surprise Jacqueline, and... Oh, my friend, God grant that you may never know what I felt when I opened the door of the room where they were and found them together. I believe the shock unbalanced my mind in the moment that I saw them as I opened the door, for I leaned against the doorpost and stared at them as if paralyzed. And they leapt up. They leapt up and were staring right back at me. And their faces. My mind refused to grasp the horror that my eyes had seen. Traitress! I turned away from the door and stumbled down the hall towards my study. It seemed to me that I must kill them. Jacqueline. Why? Harlot and her paramour. Where is it? Oh, where is it? It was some time finding my revolver. I came back, but the room was empty. I raced through every room in the house, cursing them at the top of my voice. Not finding them, I ran out into the rain and dashed down the street aimlessly. They fled. Cowards. Jacqueline! Jacqueline! Where are you? Traitress! I don't remember much of the rest of that night. I was only occasionally conscious of the rain on my face. As dawn came, I was in some vile street in Montmartre, and with the daylight came a sort of calm. As I walked through the early morn, it wasn't too long before I reached home, and it was at that very moment decided I would devote the rest of my life to hunt both of them down. For days I walked the streets, visiting the places I knew they both frequented, but to no avail. My friend, I promise you, if I had found them, without hesitation, I would have erased them both. Then, one evening, I was about to venture out again, and I met Florence at the door. She was holding the baby. My boy. She was holding my boy in her arms. Noel, up to that moment, I had not felt the slightest grief. Fury and the lust for vengeance left no room for any other emotion. I remember, for a fraction of a moment, I felt an impulse to kill the baby because it was hers. Oh, Noel. I thought the next moment that I was dying, and oh, God, if it had only been true. For the first time came the realization of what I had lost. But there he was. Oh, those beautiful powder blue eyes, staring up at me. My boy. Finally, I made up my mind that no matter how empty my life might be, I must live for the boy's sake. And with that resolution, I locked up the revolver, burned every letter and photograph of her that I had. Then I came into the world again. Now, my friend, which of us deserves the most pity? This was an Evcol Entertainment production, a part of the Masquerade series of monologues, featuring the voice talent of Mitch Howell, inspired by Alexandre Bisson, written, directed and produced by Simon James Collier, Soundscape Design by Archie Lyon-Maris,